Hey y'all, it's Nomadic Shaman here. Thank you for visiting my page. Today's video, I really wasn't expecting to do a video like this, but I received quite a few downloads over the past couple of days that I wanted to share with you all. So here I am. The first part, I want to speak about the church, okay, before I get into the downloads that I received later on. Now, one thing that Spirit had reminded me was there was a time ago, a while ago, before this whole stalking situation even started, where your girl was talking to somebody that had met on, I believe it was on the OK Cupid app. And funny enough, this was the very first individual who introduced me to crystals. So it was a divine meeting. It was my first introduction. He introduced me to different types of crystals, and he also shared with me, how they work and how to best use them in my time of getting to know him, right? Now, one of the things in our conversation, I think we spoke for a while before we actually met up in person. I believe we went on maybe one date, and that was the extent of it, but we still remained cool. It just wasn't the right time. Just wasn't the right time. He was a cool dude, but I just think at that time but either way, we remained cool friends. One thing that he shared with me was how his dad was a pastor. His dad was a very well-known pastor, at least within this area. So he grew up as being like the pastor, preacher kid, right? But one thing that he had also revealed to me was there were a lot of things that he had bared witness to that he just shouldn't have as a kid. Certain situations where he caught his parents, more specifically his dad, the preacher or pastor, and some questionable activities. And you're probably like, okay, Nomadic Shaman, where are you going with this? And let me just shoot straight, right? So he would tell me how he would catch his dad doing certain things, like questionable things. He was young, he knew it was wrong, but he didn't know the full scope. Well, it wasn't until he got older that he realized that his father was a pastor and preacher by day and was a Satanist by night. Okay, he shared with me how his dad would literally use the Bible to preach out sermons, right, to his congregation, but yet use these same sermons, certain scriptures within the Bible to curse people at night as they were doing curses or whatever type of rituals that they were doing at night. He would tell me that they were in the basement, they would do ritualistic, ceremonial, with a whole bunch of candles, doing sacrifices, animal sacrifices. He would catch in the basement. And it just so happened when he was younger, like around 6 or 7, he had walked in on one of these ceremonial sacrificial rituals. It wasn't until that point where he had shared that story with me that I had realized that, oh my gosh, do people really do these type of things? Okay, now we always hear about people, well, not always hear, but I'm pretty sure you've either heard stories, you've watched on TV, certain things of the sort that take place. That's very similar to the story that I just shared, but one of the things, one of those things that I didn't realize that people like, actually do this type of shit. Like, praise the Lord, praise Jesus. And then during the day, while they carry their their Bible in one hand, reading all types of scriptures, condemning people, judging people, real quick to wear crosses and rosaries, but these are the very same people who are spellcasters, who do sacrifices. Listen, for me, what you see is what you get. I wear my spirituality on me. Anybody who is spiritual, good or bad, will know off the jump, just based off of the spirits who walk with me, that I'm spiritual. Okay, good or bad. Now, I walk with my head held high. Was I always like this? No. There was a point where I was very closeted about my gifts. But what I wanted to specifically speak about was the church, and how there are people in the church who are, my spirits want to say, two-faced demons. My spiritual team, y'all, that's what they said. Two-faced demons, in the sense where, well, we already know in the sense, they're bona fide hypocrites, going around wearing protection in the form of crosses, speaking about the Lord, the Most High, God, the all, the nothing, the creator. And on the flip side, behind closed doors, cursing people. Okay, specifically running cards and practicing divination, practitioners of divination, to see what's going on or what's coming, what type of blessings, turn around and curse those people that they've divinated against. And then during the daytime, we'll say, oh, that's not, how can you do something of that sort? Come back to Jesus. Jesus is the light. Jesus is the way. There are folks who are hypocrites in that nature, y'all. So anyways, it's funny how the Most High had reminded me of that. And then shortly after, the reason why I'm going to connect the dots, shortly after, there was something that came on my timeline feed. I think I'm going to hook it onto this video. And it was a raid, y'all. It was a raid. I believe I spoke about this in one of my Gangstalking videos. I can't really remember, not as part of the story, my story, but shit, this could be related in some way, form, or fashion, either to directly connected to my story or connected to others who may be experiencing and or have experienced a lot of the things that I experienced as it relates to being sacrificed, harvested, harnessed, siphoned, and trafficked, right? And so specifically what I wanted to speak about was about these churches who money launder. And so they use these churches as a business front. Now, I remember stating this is really big within the gang stalking campaign because, all of this is organized crime. It's a business. And what that all includes is money laundering, tax evasion, RICO, of course. I don't want to forget. I did write some stuff down. Sex trafficking, all different types of trafficking, drug, human, children, energy trafficking, just to name a few. Money laundering is what I said, mail fraud, and also COVID-related scams centered around the PPP loan. And so funny because the timeline, the video that I saw on my timeline, literally listed all of these different criminal offenses that the feds had opened up a case or damn near did a raid and busted in on a church. The church was ran by a pastor by the name of Robert Shin, okay? This is a form, what was it? They called it the TikTok cult. For those who followed me, know that I've been on TikTok at least for a year. I'm not, my presence isn't as heavy on there as it is now. You guys know why, for some of the reasons, okay? But I thought that was very interesting. That Spirit basically showed me that as part of my timeline, connecting to, the conversation that I had with the guy that I met on, I went on one date on OkCupid, and he was telling me how his father was a Satanist and did like a whole bunch of cult stuff, right? So I'm going to connect or link the video in this video, but it's happening. Raids are happening in these churches that front as businesses, y'all. Bank fraud included. Okay. Yeah, it's a long time coming. I'm not really familiar with how long federal investigations take, but this is, if anything, proof that feds are hip on looking on social media platforms to gain insight to assist them with their cases. I've already told you I got feds following me, good, bad, or indifferent. They're following me. Spirit told me that. But anyways, so I wanted to share that with you because that showed me that things are happening. People are getting busted. You know what I'm saying? People are done got caught. Okay. And it's in places that people would have never imagined, such as the churches. Okay. And this particular church, I'm going to shout it out. This is the pastor, Robert Shin. I found this on YouTube. It's connected to the TikTok cult. This particular church is called a Shekinah Church Member. They also have a business connected to it called 7M Films, okay, which takes place in California, Toowoomba, California. But Spirit also told me that this church is an example of many churches that are doing fakery, fuckery, and foolery as far as business fronts and how they are connected to other churches. Spirit also informed me that this is a whole network. So even though this is a big ass motherfucking church and it's a huge achievement on behalf of the federal or the feds who are doing this investigation, this is only one piece of the puzzle, y'all. This is only one piece of the network. There are a multitude of churches who do this very thing, who are connected as part of the network. One within the US, I'm getting fucking chills up in this bitch. I know I'm on point. Within the US as well as internationally. These churches also take part in gang stalking. There's a way of how they finance. Okay, so you're probably saying how, because my ass wanted to know how. And my spiritual team knows how much I like to do my research. So point me in the direction, but I enjoy doing my research. So I'm going to share with you what I found. As far as one of the things that I told you about, where I ran into a video, I believe it was on Instagram, and it was a particular woman who was advocating for why people who are coming, who are wanting to be entrepreneurs, how there are a lot of tax benefits and advantages of having a nonprofit organization or setting their business up as a church. Now, what she said was true, but there's a lot of people who use it, who abuse it to misappropriate funds and to partake in RICO crimes and criminal activities. So I said, Spirit, how? They pointed me into the direction. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you how these churches work for those who were ignorant, such as I, okay, as far as what some of the benefits are of churches who hold fronts. So it could be churches, it could be mosques, it could be spiritual businesses that would be under the umbrella of like religious practices. Okay, so the reason, some of the benefits, a lot of the benefits of setting your business, or in their case, fraudulent businesses as a front, which is, what do you call that? Money laundering, is one, federal income tax exemption. Y'all, I'm just going to go ahead and do a brief list and then it's up to you to investigate. Federal income tax exemption. Real quickly, churches automatically qualify for tax exempt status under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. What this means is they do not pay federal income tax on income generated from their religious activities, read fraudulent activities for these damn motherfucking businesses who partake in money laundering and RICO crimes, allowing them to retain more funds for their missions. Now, they also advantage tax deductible donations. These look like GoFundMe setups where they go ahead and take donations and they pocketed it. And when they pocket it, they use it to finance for their own personal gain, to pay out people who partake in gang stalking activities, or to help funnel the money so that they can continue on with criminal activities to facilitate whatever is part of the plan through tax deductible donations. Let's talk about state and local tax savings. It's another benefit. Churches are exempt from having to pay federal unemployment tax. Also, what's another one? Access to tax exempt financing. Remember when I did a video a long time ago and I said they do get tax benefits, right? But I'm like, I don't know the specifics of that. Now I'm reading down some of the specifics of the benefits that they gain, and I get it. I get it why they go this route. Increased credibility. Okay, so obtaining IRS recognition as a tax exempt organization can enhance a church's credibility within the community, making it easier to attract donations and grants from various sources. This is other ways of how money is flowed into their business that they pocket, and you or either flip it, turn it around to do other crimes, okay, against humanity. Now, these are just some of the stuff. I looked this up. You guys can too, okay? The other part that I wanted to mention is, just to bring it on home, churches are not required to apply to the IRS for recognition of tax exempt status. Churches are not required to file annual Form 990s, and the IRS must follow special rules when it autos churches. That's when my guide said, bingo, it's up in that bitch. Bingo. Okay. Now, I'm not a private investigator or anything like that, but one thing I do very well is I am well researched. Okay. So, y'all, I just wanted to bring that to the forefront. These are what these churches are doing. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying it's part of a bigger network. And the Shekinah Church is just one church of many that spans across the U.S. and spans across international countries. So those who live in international countries and are saying, how the fuck am I getting gang stalked to this degree? Y'all, Spirit said, Spirit had informed me the churches is a connecting piece, but more specifically, the churches is a business front for what is actually going on behind closed doors. And these people who so-called claim to love Jesus and their life is all about Jesus, y'all, they be doing animal sacrifices, children sacrifices, human sacrifices, ceremonial and ritualistic practices in the dark, and doing all types of spell work. And all of these motherfuckers are so-called church members, while they're condemning other folks such as myself who are within the spiritual community as demons and demonic, or being demonic. Okay. Now, I'm just going to leave that there. So I wanted to share that with you. This video is getting kind of long, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. She needs to cut it. Cut it. Okay, that's just, anyways. So I just wanted to share that with you all about that's where the church operates as a business piece component comes in. The nonprofit organization front comes in as far as fundraisers. So if you see GoFundMe accounts, these are donations, taxes and donations where they get poor people's innocent money, energy, okay, to fuel these criminal and fraudulent activities, y'all. So I'm gonna leave that there. All right, on to the next one.